well. So
Try and shoot this bird. Got one shot.
That's all it takes. 8 Mile. Boom!
Yeah, quality.
nice.
Woohoo!
Right. That's a troll.
Oh
That's
my
a troll.
God,
Get the hell out.
Oh, I just got. Oh, shit!
January was the last time I did a podcast, so this won't be the same thing. Today we meet Dronuk Gaming. Welcome, man.
Hey, how you doing? You okay?
I'm good. Nothing's changed since 2 minutes ago when you asked me. See, this is the difference between a good guest and a bad presenter. I didn't ask. He asked first, so that's the difference between him and I. He's a good person. Your interests and experiences could lead this podcast down many different paths, which inevitably will mean that we neglect something. What would you like to focus on first? FPL, gaming, champion FPL, gaffer?
I think we've got to keep it. I think we've got to keep it to sort of the fantasy sort of side of things in terms of games right now. We could easily move on to gaming at some point, but that could be a whole podcast in itself.
Exactly. That's why I think we've just outlined what's going to be neglected in this one. When will we get back to it? Probably check back with me in 50 years. Perhaps we will. And to those of you that know Dronuk, but do not know what this annoying guy that's speaking for the first minute, some call me Connection, some call me Cyanide, but if you want to be special, you can call me Storm. So, as good old Dronuk mentions, we're going to highlight fantasy gaming. So, do we start off with FPL?
Yeah, I think that seems like a logical step.
Okay, cool. So, I'm just going to put a disclaimer out here that between the two of us, he is not the masochist, I am, so we must have another reason for starting FPL. So, what is your reason for starting FPL?
My reason for playing FPL? My goodness. I played FPL for, I think it's nearly like 15, 20 years. Basically when it started on pen and paper and you had to dial in. Yeah, you had to dial in to a phone line and put the players in via a code on the telephone. So that's how long I've been playing. I've always, like, as we've already mentioned, I enjoy gaming, and it's just that sort of aspect of football where it's also like gaming in a way for me. So it's tying in two of my favorite things together. I'm very competitive. I do love an element of competition, and therefore the ability to, enjoy football, watching football, playing football, but also have that ability to be competitive with it, pick players and make my own sort of team, if you will, where I'll never really be a football manager and be allowed to. It certainly fills that gap.
And to go off your competitive nature, you may not be a football manager, but you are a cricket player.
I am a cricket player. Yes, I am a cricket player. I used to own a team, not anything special, I should say, but I used to own a sort of work team that went on for a number of years. Yeah. My dad owns his own business. They actually sponsored us. We bought a lot of kit in, got our own uniform to play in. And that went on for a number of years while I worked there and continued thereafter as well. I think it's only in the last couple of years that it might have stopped. I think probably COVID played a part of that. But yes, I've recently returned back to playing cricket for a local team.
Okay. Cool. So, 5 minutes in the podcast, and I can confirm that Dronuk does indeed have a face. So it's not only his voice emitting through podcast airwaves. So, what would you have any preference when it comes to fantasy gaming? Like, I know this thing that has been annoying me this season, when people play one set of fantasy gaming and then they compare it to FPL. This gaming does what FPL should do actually, and like the point scoring. And are you of the mind to compare fantasy games?
I mean, I think it's obviously what happens. I think we do compare them. Obviously, I played Gaffer this year and really enjoyed their chips, or let's call them boosts, like they do. Really, I really enjoyed the boost they created, and you know, something like FPL could possibly take a lot from them, because I think, you know, we've had the same boost now over FPL for a long time.
It's been 84 years.
So they need to sort of shake things up a bit.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've quite enjoyed Sky, and they've got, you know, they only have a wild card which is given to you. They don't have boosts. And that's that's a completely different element altogether, because you've got to do you know, you've got 40 subs only for the whole season. So, you know, I enjoy the different elements of them, and I wouldn't say you maybe prefer one over the other. They definitely all have their merits.
And you mentioned Sky, so well done. You're one of the podcasts that gets me sticking to listening to you guys for 20 minutes on Sky. I'm a guy in Cape Town, which is in South Africa. Obviously, I'll have no chance to play Sky, so therefore my interest should be minimal. And then you start your section on Sky, and let's ignore the fact that sometimes you don't like to mention that you're doing well, and other times when you do badly, you like to mention that. Podcasting, how have you found it? Has it crept up into your like weekly routine yet, or is it just something extra that you do?
In terms of podcasting?
In terms of podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult for me, and obviously Thomas, FPL Thomas, who I podcast with, you know, I started it originally on my own, and I didn't have any aspirations. I always thought someone would come along eventually and I would duet with them, or co-pod with them. I didn't expect it to happen so fast, and at the time I had no idea who it was going to be. But obviously we're both family people, both got you know, big families, and our time is very short. You know, my first 3 days of the week are normally okay, but I've got like a set gaming night with some mates in there, a cricket match, the podcast. I've now pretty much got a whole week routine of things that are laid out. So fitting the podcast in there on a Monday night, you know, we end up recording quite late. Last night we started at 10 p.m. So, you know, luckily they've got shorter, the podcast. We've got them to a bit of a... So last night was literally just an hour, which is quite nice, considering some of them have been, you know, we've been talking 2 hours before. But it just means I've also got much quicker at the editing of it, and, you know, getting it out there. You know, to edit and get it out there now, it takes me about 20 minutes maybe, whereas before I could take a long time. So yeah, it fits in well, doing it on a Monday night like that and releasing it Tuesday for me. It's worked out well.
Perfect. And FPL Thomas, it's not because I neglected you, it's just more of a focus in mind for the podcast, for this specific podcast, in terms of creating a website, which Dronuk has, and experience of creating a website, experience the challenges, and experience in the same breath the liberation, if that's a term, the liberating aspect of seeing a website. Okay, it's out there, I created something, and not only did I create something, there are people coming back to it every single day. So did you think that you should actually go into website design. Was that always part of the plan, or
No,
did it just?
it just happened. Like me and Thomas. So what happens with me and Thomas is I'm sort of the technical guy. So I'll do the editing of the podcast. I'll do the website creation and all the uploading of articles, etc. He's much more involved in the admin side of getting the tweets out and doing the sort of engaging people's interests and stuff. He's very, very good on social media and has the time to do so, whereas I really don't have the time to do that, but I do have the time to do the other aspects. So we both fit very well. The website came out sort of just a conversation we had. Like we said one day, where does the podcast go from here? And we materialized that. Wouldn't it be great? People wanted to write articles or wanted to talk about their stories, and it'd be like, wouldn't it be great to have a website where they could come for football? There are a few out there, but most of them are sort of paid subscription models. But wouldn't it be nice to have people who don't want to pay be able to get some content for free? And therefore we thought it would take a long time. I'll be fair, I'm not in web design or anything at all. I literally was like, he was like, can you build a website? And I was like, well I can. It's something I've done long time ago, probably about 10 years or more, but I'm sure I can pick it up. And in fairness, it was really, really easy for me. So I ended up getting it out and sorted in about 2 days. I had some downtime from work. Actually, I was swapping jobs, so I had like 2 days on it, maybe 8 hours in total, 4 hours a day, and it was up and running. Now it doesn't take me any time at all to get the articles uploaded. It's all ticking along nicely, to be completely honest with you. And you said about people coming back to it. Yeah, we do. We've got a lot of repeat people coming back to it, which is really nice to see. We're uploading new articles pretty much daily. And I don't know if you're playing the Euro game, but like Motley Barnett's that you may have seen on Twitter. He's put an absolutely amazing Euro Cup spreadsheet for download off the site at the moment, and I banged on about it last night on my own pod, but if you're going to play the Euro game, you have to download that spreadsheet to help you. It's amazing. But yeah, it came out, basically the website just literally came out of a conversation me and Thomas had of where do we want to go in the future? What do we see ourselves doing? And that was the first step, the podcast, and then the website. Who knows where the website will go? We haven't decided on that yet. But at the moment, it is the sort of, we've brought it out at the end of a season in reality. So let's see what happens next season.
Yeah, a man with a plan, and to be fair, times two, which is the man on podcast. Sometimes I'm good at segues and sometimes I'm not very good. I think the last time is in between. So the Fantasy Football Collective.org, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
At least I had that in my head.
Yeah.
And the link will be down below, as with everything related to Dronuk and FPL Thomas. What I have in front of me over here is I had this idea for a singular video. Since we're doing a podcast, I thought, let's give it a bit of a test run. I went back to game week 1 of FPL and looking at the names that are selected. And I do not know what I was thinking.
What, your game week 1 team?
Yeah. I'm looking... I have to be honest, and I'm going to repeat these names that I'm not sure what I was thinking of. Diangana, Aubameyang, Mitrovic, Batshuayi. Not only Batshuayi, I started Batshuayi, and Mitrovic came in for Batshuayi. Yeah. That just shows how good I am at FPL, which, quote unquote, not very good.
I recently looked at my game week 1 team, and my game week 1 team is no better. Yeah, it's awful. Actually, if you remember rightly, Man City and Man United had a blank, didn't they? So you couldn't really have them. So I think I ended up creating a team, but having two United assets I wanted on the bench as well. Yeah. So it's quite difficult. But yeah, I certainly had two Newcastle players in mind, in Saint Maximin and Callum Wilson. And I also went heavy on Chelsea. The two new boys, actually, Kai Havertz and Timo Werner. Timo Werner wasn't a bad shout.
I guess I won't say it's great minds think alike. It's a slightly dumb mind getting a great mind idea, as in from you. I probably got that from you somehow. I went with Kai and Werner and Captain Werner. Thinking, okay.
So did I. Yep.
Chelsea. I support Chelsea. And this fairy tale would happen that Werner would come in, he would score. And I did that 2 seasons in a row, because I remember last season, okay, Pulisic came in.
Yep.
Captain Pulisic. And what happened? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer whooped Lampard 4-0 on his first assignment. And to rub salt in the wounds, I had Daniel James, and he came on for about 4 minutes and scored it. So,
Daniel James, Jesus. I think that's a man who's never touched a fantasy team of mine ever.
Oh well, I have to say I was riding the wave of Daniel James' form in the first 15 weeks of last season, and
yeah, it was good, yeah.
And at the same time, I was riding the wave of the 15 weeks after when he had no form at all. Okay, so do you have a preferred formation when it comes to FPL? Is there some kind of symmetry that has to go on in the games that you play, or is it just horses for courses?
Horses for courses. There's no symmetry. I do see people who put sort of red on the left, red on the right, blue down the middle. I ain't playing around with that. I just cannot be bothered with that. Set formation, yeah. I'm usually a 3-4-3, or possibly 4-4-2. I don't really deviate from that at all. In fairness, it's I always like to get my three strikers out there.
Oh well, that is a good way to go about things, because as we've seen in Champman FPL, hat-tricks don't come from midfielders. No, exactly the thing. They don't, unless you've got a midfielder who plays up front, sometimes like Aubameyang, but he's not capable of hat-tricks either. Unfortunately. But I think Salah is the closest you're going to get. Yeah, I think so. He is somebody that is kind of in the middle of the threshold of being annoying and very great to have, because sometimes there are dead set FPL points coming up, whether it's an assist, and if that assist can be to Mane, that assist is not going to happen. Because they're not best friends. But anyway, this isn't a podcast about me. It's a podcast about you.
That's okay.
And I'm just not a fan of self-promotion on something I create. So when it came to website design, right? With the challenges that once you accomplished or conquered the challenge, you felt sense of high, quote unquote high feeling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it just happened after the 2 days I'd been making it. I just sent it to Thomas and said, "Look, this is what we've got," and yeah, we just didn't expect it to be that quick. So it was like, right, now we've got to get people writing some articles to upload to it. We didn't have a logo or a sort of not theme, I wouldn't say, but we wanted some better logos and images for it. So we reached out to the community as most people would, and got a few people to do them for us. More than happy to as well, which is obviously really nice, and that's, I think, the joy of the community is that you can normally find someone to help you with something. So that's always nice. But yeah, I mean, once it's been complete and now it's been up and running for quite a while, it's it really is nice to see how it's gone from strength to strength. In reality, it's it's really good.
Excellent. Okay, you got an achievement that I haven't unlocked yet. Build a website and maintain a website. Well, then again, to be fair, I haven't been great at retaining and maintaining a relationship, so a website is a bit of a step too far at the moment. So when it comes to gaming, right? Like gaming, like PC gaming.
Yeah.
Are you one that games on the PC or PlayStation? I'm loath to recognize Xbox at the moment.
Well, sorry, I am Xbox. And PC.
Oh, okay. PC is okay. PC
Yeah,
is good,
I am Xbox and PC. To be fair, I used to be PlayStation, but then all my friends had Xboxes, so it took. I was, even when I had a PlayStation, I was never anti-Xbox. I just had my PlayStation. Then I think I moved over to the Xbox when they all did, and I've never looked back really. I did have both at some point, but I just don't have the time to play both Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. Time diminishes.
So you would say that Xbox has made the connection with you more than PlayStation did?
I barely used the PlayStation for online. I didn't have any friends on it, so I barely played it online. My PlayStation was all singular stuff. That, to be fair, I started off having the console for single player, and my multiplayer format was my PC. I used to play with friends on PC all the time. So if you're talking, I don't know, let's say 10 to 15 years ago, I was playing with a big group of guys, and we were called the Old Liners because they were all older. And we used to play.
I remember the story that you said that you recanted the story about your dad dropping you, or your brother, older brother dropping you.
Yeah. Well done. Good memory. Yeah, I like that. Yes, my dad dropped me and my brother around to a place where we did a huge meetup with them all, and we did a big LAN. There's about 50 of us actually, so all plugged into hubs and all playing multiplayers, but in one place. So we got to meet each other. I've met them multiple times now, to be fair, which is quite nice, and I still speak to one or two of them. But yeah, obviously I've sort of moved in. So yeah, that was PC gaming. So that was my multiplayer format. We played a lot of MMOs, a lot of like Counter-Strike and stuff, and then we flipped over. Then I sort of went from that to playing more multiplayer on Xbox with my real friends, who I see now and speak to daily. And now my PC has sort of become my single player platform if I'm looking to do something, and my Xbox is my multiplayer platform. So it's swapped. It's strange.
Okay, so when it comes to gaming, the link down below will be to Dronuk Gaming on Instagram. Yes, TikTok, but don't hold that against him. I'll still put the TikTok link down below.
TikTok is hilarious. People's creativity on those platforms is just genius. Yeah, to be fair, my gaming links, although I've got them and appreciate you looking at them, it's because I was live streaming. But I just haven't had the ability or time to do that. It takes so much self-promotion to get sort of a Twitch partnership and stuff that I just haven't got the time to self-promote and have a set schedule. People are like, here's my schedule. I do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 till 4. I've got a job. I can't do that. So
You've got a job. You've got family. You've got
job and kids. Yeah, exactly. So I can't be tied to a gaming schedule. Pretty simple. So yeah, you can follow me, but not much gets updated, unfortunately. But yeah, TikTok's a great platform. I mean, I know I'm 38 years old and I've got TikTok, but hey, there's some hilarious people on that platform.
No, it's not the factor of age for me. It's just TikTok had this reputation of having the quote-unquote worst content creators available, and then they get popularity.
Oh yeah,
it's more of a personal. It's more of a personal thing than what the greater TikTok universe does. Over the last year or so, or however many years we've been locked down, probably 50 years. Is there something that can look back on and be proud that you did it, like adapting to something, learning something, and just having the achievement unlocked? I know it's an Xbox thing, and I keep mentioning it.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, an achievement unlocked over this 12 months or so.
Yeah, I mean, I had hugely high, let's say, thoughts of what I would achieve during lockdown. There was multiple things that I thought I would do. In terms of, I was gonna buy a guitar and learn guitar. Then I decided to do the streaming thing, which I did a little bit. But I think the thing I'm most probably proud of is the podcast and the website, and it has to be that, simply because, like, Thomas wasn't involved from the start of the podcast. That was me thinking, hey, you know what? I always wanted to do a podcast. I listened to FPL Planet quite a lot, so James and Sudge, and I was like, do you know what? I kind of really want to do that. Yeah. And I love talking. I love talking about football. I'm never take myself seriously, so let's just do it. So I threw myself in there, and then obviously everything grew. Thomas came on board. The podcast started getting over 150 listeners a week. Then the website came along, and if I look at the website at the moment, it's getting around 50 to 100 visitors a day at the moment. So really, really good sort of stats for better than I would have thought. Maybe they aren't great stats, but they're better than I thought.
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect. If it's better than you thought, then it's perfect for you.
Yeah, I mean, the guitar didn't happen because I changed jobs multiple times during lockdown. So the guitar didn't happen, and my fitness, obviously they closed gym, so my fitness just went completely out the window. I gave up with the whole gym thing, which I used to love as well. Gym was a huge thing for me. I used to love training, but I haven't done it for about a year and a half now. So I've just ballooned in size and eaten a lot.
No, I've been on this earth long enough, and I'd rather eat than train. So you've made the right choice.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
To be fair, you're not going to say it didn't happen. You're just going to say it's not going to happen yet.
Yeah, well, burgers are tasty, deadlifts aren't. So that's what I'll go with.
That's a t-shirt idea.
It's a t-shirt. It is a t-shirt idea.
Yeah.
Actually, I did create. Actually, talking of successes and failures, I did actually create my own online shop. Because I'm in the world of retail and e-commerce, I should say.
Yeah.
I did create, literally just before lockdown, my own t-shirt business, which was gym and gaming t-shirts and wear.
Okay.
I had my own company called Blazing Frag and everything. But because it was literally before lockdown, I just could not get any traction at all. So in the end, I've ended up closing it down for the time being. But one day I'll probably reopen it. I'm still working in sort of the e-commerce workspace. Yeah. So one day I'll start it again. But at the time, I put a lot of effort into the t-shirt designs and stuff. And yeah, it was it looked really good when it was up, when it was actually a running website.
Now, the good thing about this podcast is beforehand, it's just instinctive, actually. It's not intended. Sometimes I choreograph things I do before I do them, like podcasts, for example. I think, we're going to touch on this and touch on that, and not in a Bill Cosby way. But since we're speaking now, more pathways have been opened, like you're speaking about creating a shop online, creating clothing. So it branches out into you having experience with clothing, experience with entrepreneurship. Although if we keep branching out, it's going to be a big family tree, and this will go over an hour. Not that I mind. I've done an hour and a half before. Although I'm not going to be selfish, and you do have time since you are a family man and all that.
Yeah.
So just to round up, is there anything you've connected with over the last 12 months that you didn't anticipate? Be it music or just like relaxation, meditation. I would imagine that family remains priority. Just something that you didn't expect to happen over the last 12 months that you found a sort of a bond with.
An interesting conversation, in fairness. Let me think. So, so anything I didn't expect. Well, obviously my wife is pregnant at the moment. Yeah. So we're due in July. Well, thank you very much. So obviously, I wouldn't say that was unexpected. It was planned. But it is kind of our last one, so that's exciting. My best friend, him and his partner had a little boy recently. That I didn't know they had got that planned, so that that was obviously good within the last 12 months to find out that they were expecting. Otherwise, no, I wouldn't say anything's been unexpected. I think what's happened during lockdown, nothing major. Like everyone in terms of family's been good. My nan passed, but we were never that close, so I had to attend a funeral, which I haven't. It's something very rare for me, actually. Touch wood. I don't. You don't want to be attending funerals.
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess that's kind of unexpected, and otherwise nothing. I don't do the sort of yoga, meditation, or anything like that. I always think I should, but I always put a blocker and say I'm too busy. I do miss certain things from lockdown stopped. Like I used to eat out regularly with my wife. I used to eat out once a month with my friends. A set group of us who we've been friends for like 20 odd years now. So I kind of miss that. In reality, going out for some good food. But hey, we're close to being able to do that again. What's the date? 6 days. 17th we're allowed to eat indoors again. So can't wait to get back to doing that. My favourite thing, eating. So that's going to be good. Otherwise nothing seriously unexpected, which I guess is kind of nice. But at the same time, is it boring? No, do I want the unexpected? And it really, I guess, would depend on how unexpected it would be. I think it would depend on what the unexpected thing was, whether I actually wanted it or not.
I just want to say this quick thing that over the last 12 months, at the time, obviously, many people at the time, I used time to learn French, Spanish. Forgot almost everything I've learned, but that's not the point. Would you say that what you've built, we can expand more than 2 years ago? What you've built in your adult life, would you see that as a legacy?
Ooh, deep question. I don't think I'd see it as see it as a legacy. I mean, obviously, what a lot me and Thomas have built is really cool, and it's great for a community of people. But I wouldn't, I don't think for to me a legacy is something you built that people remember you for a long time for. And in fairness, if touchwood anything happened tomorrow, I don't think it would continue for much longer, if at all. So I wouldn't call it a legacy. For instance, my dad's business, that would be for him a legacy for our family. That would continue. It would be a hell of a lot of money for us all and things like that. But I wouldn't say what I've built's a legacy. And it's an interesting point you raised there, actually, because with the fact I've got like children now and stuff, I do sometimes think like, what can I do to ensure that they have something in the future, and what could I build to give them a legacy, or to build my legacy for them, I should say.
Yeah, because the interesting point with that is that you've experienced that light switch where life changes from being about yourself to being about others. 100%. Like I would imagine that happened when you had your first child, and then well, I would imagine so, because I haven't experienced that. So you might have other experiences that might paint a different picture for when you had that light switch moment.
Yeah.
So that's why for me I'm being a bit selfish when I mention legacy, because at this point, not that I care about whether people remember me or not, but at the same time I'm contradictory when I build certain things, podcasts, just like self-promotion. As much as I hate it, it's just the way of the world. So
you see, I don't do much of it. If you see my Twitter, etc., like I've never been somebody with huge esteem. Like I've always had quite low self-esteem from a very young age. And so even when I've got a lot better with my self-esteem, but you'll never see me push the website as much as I probably should. You'll never see me push the podcast like I should. Like I give the link to Thomas. Sorry, I should say Thomas. I push the link to Thomas, and he tweets out the website. He tweets out the podcast and says, "Hey, our podcast is up." I might give it a retweet occasionally and say just once and say really enjoyed it, but otherwise I won't be pushing it. Whereas you see like people who create events, for instance, it's literally every other tweet. It's come to the event, do this, do that, and it's I find that a bit. I don't know. I mean, obviously, you need to, if you've got a product, you need to market it at the end of the day. But I've always thought that's a bit cringy, especially if I created the product. Like give me a product to sell as a company, which is my role. I should say for my job is I'm an account executive for a software company. You give me a product to sell, a piece of software, I'll sell it to you. No problem at all. But you give me, if I built the software, I don't want to push it out there. That's because I built it. It doesn't feel right. I just feel it feels a little bit pathetic and sad. It's like, oh, look at my product I built. So I can't do it. So I'm really bad at self-promoting, which is probably why my whole streaming thing didn't take off much either, because although I put up clips, they were just literal clips of me gaming. It wasn't, hey, I'm Dronuk, I'm doing this gaming, this is my schedule, come watch me play games. It just feels crap.
It does. And thanks for helping me realize why I haven't done podcasts for like 4 months. Because as you mentioned, this self-promotion thing, I would be very surprised if I upload this podcast like to YouTube and Anchor, and then I put the link out on Twitter. I'd be very surprised if I like tag you in it. I have this illogical thinking that once I create something, even if I did it with a few people, or in this instance, I do it with you,
Yep.
and I tag you, I think, okay, this is a bit too much because I'm basically asking you, in this case, to retweet it, and that's not your job. Even though you were on the podcast,
I see what you mean.
it's my responsibility. So whether the podcast does well or not, that should be on me, and not because I influence other factors or get a quote-unquote unfair advantage because I have two pathways promoting the same thing. So it's just heavily critical in that aspect when it comes to self-promotion. So
Okay, well, I mean, it's an interesting point. I mean, personally, if I were you, like, I mean, I wouldn't feel bad about tagging me if you know when you put out the podcast and say, hey, I've done a podcast with FPL Dronuk, can you tag me as FPL Dronuk? That's not bad at all. That, I mean, I wouldn't say that's pushing me to retweet it.
yeah,
You know, it's up to me then if I want to retweet it. But you're just tagging me in. And in fairness, I would retweet it because anybody within that community is going to probably retweet it because that's who we are as a community.
Yeah.
You know, we support each other. I mean, well, let's be fair, 99% of us support each other. There's always 1 or 2% bad apples, but hey, we don't talk to them.
Yeah.
But it just happens. You can work out who they are, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, you know, I self-promotion's hard, don't get me wrong. And that's why I let Thomas promote us more than I do, because he's very good at it. But he does it in a way that isn't promoting him and I, it's actually promoting the product we've got. So he's really good for that, in fairness. I mean, I owe a lot of what we've created and built to Thomas, simply because he's got some very good ideas. He speaks to the right people. You know, the Sean Ryan Phillips Cup we did, you know, he knew the person who could get Sean Wright Phillips to do the picture and stuff. So
I remember
the picture. Did you see? Yeah, you remember the picture?
Yeah.
So
it was like writing on a white paper.
Yeah, with Sean Wright Phillips. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's, you know, he knew the connection to do that, and you know, that's amazing. But yeah, he pushes the product well in terms of, hey, this is what we've built. It doesn't go into much detail ever about him and I. It's literally like we do it for the community, not ourselves. Is the overall factor. Me and Thomas live for the community that we found and we love. We've got many group chats going on with different people, and it's awesome. But like we provide for the community free of charge because we love them and don't ever expect anything back. And that's quite simple where we are, and we'll continue to do so in the future. You know, we've got plans for the future. We've discussed them a little bit here and there. We do have something in the pipeline again, so yeah, it should be fun.
I guess the connection has to go a long way from Europe to Africa, so
it's holding up.
Put that there.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's holding up well. Yeah, I mean, I've got a fantastic connection here because I built this office, and I've got like 600 meg.
Oh, that office is looking quite beautiful, actually.
Yeah,
well done on that.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it doubles up as my office and my games room, but it took some building, but it's lovely in here, so all good.
You created your own office with the best view possible, because 99% of corporate jobs do not have that office.
No, true. I mean, my view is my back garden and my house, which isn't terrible, but at least I get the sun in here and some air, and the back garden's nice enough.
Okay, we're coming up onto 45 minutes, so I think that's a good stopping off point is football symmetry and all that. We can do the first half, which is basically the full podcast. So, is there anything you would like to speak on? We could go into stoppage time if you'd like. Is there anything that you would like to highlight?
Call it stoppage time. No, I mean the only thing I'll say again is, number one, appreciate you having me on. I do like actually the fact that we've talked not solely about football and about gaming, but we've opened up a few aspects, and it got me thinking. Nice podcasts angle, to be completely honest with you. I do like that. Secondly, just again, thank you to the community. Me and Thomas are there for you guys free. We do as much as we possibly can, and we always will. And as I said, we've got a few things coming up. I think in the future, when I actually get some time, we'll be moving to YouTube as well, and we'll actually be doing video podcasting as well. So a bit like the Champman stream. Obviously, because of my gaming history, I can set up OBS streams and layers and stuff, and so I think I'm going to design something a bit like the Chatman stream, but for the podcast. So that's the idea for the future. But I need a little bit of downtime to create it, because it's not, funny enough, it's not as easy as creating a website, which is stupid. But hey,
it's a strange one.
Yeah, it is. It's website was very easy out of nowhere. I didn't expect it to be that easy. Oh, we got bad connection again. With a name like Connection, should have a good connection.
Hey, the connection is between people that I focus on. Even though I don't like 99% of people, so you part of the 1%.
Yes,
and that counts for like 700,000 people, I guess. My math isn't great, but okay.
Hey, I'm happy.
Again, we just crept into stoppage time, and unlike Manchester United, Bruno will not have a penalty afterwards. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for chilling for 45 minutes, and
it's been nice.
As I've said before, every link, he's not a fan of promotion. I'll promote him for him, if that's correct English. Sorry, teach mode. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that I guess would be all. Thanks for chilling, and thanks to you guys and girls, to the one girl that listens to this podcast in Iceland. Thank you for chilling, and this has been the podcast that Dronuk and I make, and I'll leave you with one message: don't wait, create.